This is going to decide the entire outcome of the trial. Very well then, under the terms I have outlined, you may resume the cross-examination. Alrighty then. A new song, eh? Alrighty then. Which one should we go for? Which one should we go for? I think I'm gonna go with this statement over here. You said that you pursued the man, and he shut himself in the storeroom. You could see him through the peephole in the door, though. What peephole? You mean the peephole that was created by this device, like after the incident?
Objection!
What on earth is that eccentric contraption, console? It's like a megaphone. I used one of those before.
Oh, it's my clap-flap-o-mat, my lord. It makes a way for cats to get in and out of the room. He can cut through any door you can think of and make a new little door in the middle of it.
That's right, my lord. It's a device for creating so-called cat flaps. Small doors for cats to come and go as they please, without their owners having to open the main door. I'm sure we can all work that out for ourselves. But that cat lover's contrivance has no possible relevance to this case. Does it? Nothing that has to do with that particular peephole on the door? On the storeroom door? Alrighty. Of course it doesn't. To start with, there was no cat flap in the pawnbroker's door. Well, you did technically say some truth there, that's for sure. Partially. Not being a keeper of cats myself, I'm afraid I fail to see what this has to do with the matter at hand. Perhaps it would help if I described its function another way then. This contraption is able to create a peephole in any door you can imagine in practically no time at all. God, I don't know if I actually commented on this, but imagine if you used this on somebody's face. What would happen at that point? Because for something like this to create peepholes in like seconds, like that, especially highly detailed peepholes like the one that we seen at the storeroom door, imagine what it would do to someone's face. Ugh. It doesn't sound like a very safe device. I beg your pardon? A peephole, you say? 2 nights ago, we arrived at the scene only minutes after the murder of Mr. Weedyback had taken place. That's right. According to the paperwork at the yard, he was your Japanese assistant and Sean's. Yes, the 3 of us were together, and it's recently come to my attention that my assistant made use of this device at the time. Your assistant did what? There was a peephole in the storeroom door. I can attest to that. Because I looked through the peephole myself in order to see inside the locked storeroom. This is ludicrous. What are you trying to say? Well, if you were to let Leonoski finish his sentences right over here, you wouldn't have to ask that. Of course there was a peephole in the door. I said as much in my testimony. How else could I have witnessed a crime, for Peter's sake? Yes, how could you? What? Counsel, kindly say what you mean. Alright, it's time. Time to strike the final blow. What I mean is this, my lord. My assistant made a peephole in the storeroom door, and until such time as she did, the door had no hole in it to look through. Yeah, true. How can you, Mr. Milverton, say that you looked through the peephole when it was never there to begin with, before Susato made it afterwards? What? No!
Objection!
This is a farce. Are you really suggesting that the peephole in the door was... Yep, He was created only after the incident had taken place by my judicial assistant, using this device. Her assistant tampered with the crime scene. I was being fully aware of the gravity of her actions. I guess we should thank God that she's now going back to Japan. She escaped with crime. Oh no! That is a most serious act of vandalism. For which I humbly apologize, my lord. It was in the few minutes that I left the scene in order to pursue the skulking brothers and alert the police. Nevertheless, in the light of this new information, it becomes apparent that Mr. Graydon's testimony is riddled with holes. Yep, with a hole that was never there to begin with. In a metaphorical sense, of course. Yep. Real quick. Explain yourself, counsel. The majority of Mr. Graydon's testimony that appears to incriminate the defendant is based upon what he witnessed through the people in the storeroom door. Yes, that filthy girl shooting the man in the back. However, if at the time of the incident, that people did not yet exist in the door, there's no possible way that you could have seen what you claim to have seen. In short, your entire testimony is a pack of lies. Ora! Is there any credence in this revelation?
Objection!
None whatsoever. As my learned friend must surely realize. Exactly. This is just some cheap trick designed to discredit me. I'm afraid not so. Of course it is. Do you seriously expect people to believe that plaything can cut through a solid wooden door?
Oh, yes. I designed it to be very powerful. It can cut through even the toughest of doors.
That's absurd. I don't believe it for a second.
I had a feeling you'd say that.
What?
Becky, Dewey, time for dinner.
Hey. Wagahai.
Well,
Young lady, this is the Old Bailey. One does not make cat flaps in the oak paneling of the Old Bailey. I'm not 10 yet, don't worry. This doesn't mean that the people in the storeroom door at Weedybags was made by your machine. And there's no way you can prove that it was.
no? It's easy.
What?
The cat flaps my clap flappermat creates are all of a fixed size. And the dimensions of the people at the Weedy Bags are the exact match. Old Seeky's last for words.
Excellent work, Iris. Thank you. And now it's my learned student friend's turn to be lost for words, I feel. Okay, well, bring it on, Zeeks. I believe your judicial assistant has already left the country for your eastern island home. Well, yes, that's true. You may have some difficulty in establishing all the facts. For the sake of argument, let us assume the people has dimensions that are a perfect fit for this contraption. In that case, when was the people cut? The prosecution demands proof of your answer. Well, didn't Ryonosuke say it himself? It was during the time when he was going for the culprits. What's the purpose of your line of inquiry, Lord Van Six? It's very simple, my lord. The defense argues that the people was created after the incident using the stones. But now that the perpetrator has returned to her native land, she cannot testify to the fact. There is no proof. And for as long as the defense remains unable to prove when the people was made, My learned friend's claim amounts to nothing more than a baseless accusation. Indeed, I saw Lorenzix. Well, Counsel? Evidence. I
Don't give up now, Runo. This is the time to create your own opening and force your way through.
don't know if I can do this. I do know one thing. Sato-san is the greatest judicial assistant in the world. Very well. The counsel for the defense will present evidence to support the claim made. Prove that the people in the door of Windyback's storeroom was created after the event. Prove that the people in the door of Windyback's storeroom was created after the event and not before. After the event, not before. And this is the cat. Paperworks. Iris' story manuscript. Oh, hold on a second. Let me look at these photos over here. That is 1 a.m. Ah, there you go. That's what we are supposed to present right here. Is this? This was at 1 a.m. You will notice like a difference between the doors. At 1 a.m. there is no people. At 1:30 there is. That was taken after the incident happened. And this was before the incident happened. Like, there's no way that Middleton could have seen through that door at this particular point, because, well, you don't see like any people there. What are you? A print from that detective's infernal cameras again. My judicial assistant, Miss Sato Mikotopa, is an extremely intelligent and capable woman, which is why I never had any cause of doubt that she would have considered this scenario and made sure I had the necessary proof. Yeah, you think twice before you question Sato. Necessary proof is this photographic print, Counsel? This print shows a scene in the shop moments after the defendant entered the premises. Agreed. It also shows the accused mercilessly wielded the gun in the direction the defense's broker. Yes, thanks, Six, but that's not the detail that we should focus on here. But more to the point, it pictures the storeroom door in the background. Let me see that print again. I don't believe it. This really is quite remarkable. The door to the storeroom is completely devoid of a people of any description. Ugh. Mr. Graydon! You can possibly have witnessed the crime as you claim to have done. Because at the time it happened, there was no people in the door. In other words, your testimony is a catalog of lies. Gah! Order! I am satisfied that the defense has substantiated its claim beyond all reasonable doubt. This witness's testimony was entirely fallacious. And that's not the only thing we know now, beyond all reasonable doubt. My learned friend's assistant's guilt can no longer be denied. And the woman tampered with a crime scene. again, that's something that we're gonna discuss a little bit later, not right now. But more importantly... Good lord, there's more Lord Van Zix? The defense may have established a reprehensible instance of perjury. But that is no proof that this man is the victim's killer. Yes, that's right. Well, I'll stare at the scene. It's true. And I was shot in the arm. It's true. But that's all. Yes, in fact, if you look at the circumstances, I am the victim here. Oh, please. No! I don't believe this. They're right. As it stands now, I don't have any definitive proof that he is the culprit. Okay. Another mile that we have to walk to the top of the mountain. And it surely is like that at this point. It's like, you may see that, okay, I have a mile left to the top of the mountain, but when you go through that mile, you realize, oh, I need another mile. Okay. And it keeps going like that. Can we finally find the definitive proof that he is the culprit? Find out next time in Great Ace Attorney, which should either be like right now or like in the next part. I guess it kind of depends on how I'm gonna edit this, and you're gonna realize how I'm gonna edit this like right now.
Still, he cannot worm his way out of it now.
Iris?
You know what they say. There's no point locking the cat's door after the cat has bolted. Is that right, Reno? As Hurley always says, one lie begets another. No, wait. That might have been a line I wrote for him in one of my stories.
Well, no matter who said it first, you are right. Mr. Graydon, not only did you give false testimony to court, but the lies you told make no sense. Make no sense? What do you mean by such a remark? What you said in your testimony reveals that you know something you shouldn't have known. In other words, there is a fundamental inconsistency in your statements. What?
Objection!
This is a provocative talk, counsel. Won't you enlighten the court? Explain this alleged inconsistency. Iris was right. One lie begets another. The inconsistency is revealed by the lies in the witnesses' statements. They show that Mr. Graydon had the knowledge of something he shouldn't have known anything about. Namely, the third gun, the peephole, the bloodstains on the coat. But the thing is, these are stuff that he could have learned, like, throughout the trial. And he could have used that against us, but let's say that that's not the case. So he would have his own gun. Like, the Skulking brothers would have their own gun. And they would probably know that Weedyback also has a gun as well. So I don't think that's really the case. The peephole... Well, assuming that Milverton never heard of the peephole in this whole trial, yeah, you know, how would he know about the peephole if the incident happened before the peephole was made there to begin with? More importantly, how would he be able to know what happened inside if he couldn't just look through it without the people, or even open the door to begin with? So, yeah, that would be a correct one. The bloodstains on the coat... Well... Well, the thing is... Middleton... He probably wouldn't have known that there were bloodstains on that coat to begin with. Because, like, 2 months ago, that blood was from Mason. McGilded knew about the blood, and he had it deposited. And soon afterwards, well, when like 2 months later, when Middleton came to the shop to get that coat, the blood was not there. So how could he have known about that blood to begin with? Well, actually, okay, so it's either one or the other, if I'm to think like something like that. Which one should I even choose? Which one should I go? Well, you know, it is referring to the testimony. So maybe we should stay on the subject and talk about the things that he has been telling us in like the testimony, in the last testimony, and what we learned about the people. So I think I'm gonna go with the people. The point is not that you lied in your testimony, Mr. Graydon. It's the nature of the lie you concocted that is so revealing. You're not making any sense. Then let me ask you a simple question. How is it, Mr. Graydon, that you knew the existence of the people in the storm door? What? Well, obviously Fuck. It's like I got your tongue, witness. Get one. The people in the door was made after the incident occurred, and once they returned to the shop, having failed to catch the 2 burglars, Scotland Yard investigators arrived immediately. Since that time, the police have been at Windybags constantly, carrying out their investigation. Isn't that right, Inspector Gregson? Well, yes, of course. The place is chock full of pawned articles, and my lads have to thoroughly examine them all. So I gave the order to have officers working around the clock in shifts, so we get through it all. And consequently, there's no way that you, Mr. Graydon, could have gained access to the shop. Oh... Sort of makes me think, because yeah, the question is, how did Graydon know? Could it be that somebody told him these details? Gregson, what do you think? Therefore, you should have known nothing about the people in the storeroom door. So the fact that its existence forms the basis of your testimony is completely inexplicable.
Objection!
And yet, the fact remains that Mr. Graydon did maintain that he witnessed a crime take place through the people in the door. How on earth is that possible?
Could I have a word, please, Lord Von Zix?
Speak, Inspector.
It's just that I really ought to be getting back to the station now to put in my report.
No. You stay right over here. We do have some questions for you as well, Grexy.
There's really nothing more I can add to this testimony. So if it's all the same to you...
Cause, you know, gameplay-wise, you didn't really add much in these last cross-examinations. Like, gameplay-wise. So it makes me question, why would the game want you here, still, even to this point? It's because you have something for us to work with. Permission denied. Oh. It's not all the same to me, Inspector. Not at all. You will remain exactly where you are until this trial concludes. Of course, sir. Mr. Graydon. You shouldn't have known about the existence of that people. Which can only mean that you must have been informed about it by somebody else.
Objection!
Stop there, my learned friend. You realize, I trust, that the words you just uttered have extremely serious implications. Oh yes, we are aware of the serious implications, just like last time's, Zeeks. So let us finish. Yes. But the defense believes that the details about the case that Mr. Graydon claims to have seen must have been revealed to him by a certain person before his testimony. And in fact, considering a particular clue we have, there's really only one person that could be. And we had that moment that happened at one point when we cross-examined Gina. Who is the person in question, Counsel? Who gave this witness details of the crime scene to facilitate his false testimony? It would have to be Tobias Gregson right over here.
Take that!
The truth is, it can only have been you, Inspector Gregson.
Eh? Me?
Objection!
You had better have some proof to substantiate such a rash claim, my little friend. Consider the fact that we have only been aware of Mr. Ashley Graydon's identity for the last few hours. We learned of it only during the course of the trial today. Indeed, preparations for his testimony were made with great urgency during our long recess. But the police executed a subpoena and brought the man here from the communication station. And until that time, Mr. Graydon would have had no idea. No inkling that he would suddenly be required to appear in court. I suggested until such time as he was summoned. Yep, my lord. Until then, it's reasonable to assume he knew nothing of the people. And until the time came, he surely must have talked with Gregson about the details. Not just before he arrived here, but also during, at some point. It was only once Mr. Graydon was in the stand that he realized his position. That he would have to defend himself against the accusation that he was the third intruder. Or, okay, in which case, it was during Gina Lestrade's cross-examination, not before. You're suggesting to the court that it was while this trial was in progress they received the information, so that he could commit perjury in order to save his skin. Exactly. And the only person with knowledge of the investigation that he had any contact with is you, Inspector Gregson.
This is a blooming outrage. Why would I be giving away details of our investigations to this fella, eh? I was summoned to his lordship's chambers during the recess in any case. Had he forgotten that?
Quite true. I had a number of questions regarding the events that transpired at Prom Bookroom. Which means the first time these two laid eyes on one another was after proceedings resumed following the recess. Since then, they've been in full view in this stand, where such illicit discussions couldn't possibly have occurred. Oh, but it did! It did!
I just remembered something, Bruno.
What is Iris?
There was one time before, wasn't there? I think it was when Gina was testifying.
Yeah, now that you mention that, when the bailiff was dispatched to retrieve Miss Gildett's music box from the scene of the crime. That's it. It was during that testimony. I remember finding it strange at the time. Mr. Graydon and the inspector seemed to be having some kind of secret discussion. It would have been possible for you to give Mr. Graydon this information he needed then.
You little toe rag. You're making all this up. I'm a respectable Scotland Yard inspector, for crying out loud. Why would I do something like that? Why would I be giving away confidential details to the likes of this block?
Emily You wouldn't have any reason to do something like that for no gain. But perhaps he was part of a deal or something. Then it starts to make more sense. What deal, Council? I wonder if perhaps, in exchange for details about the people at the crime scene, Mr. Graydon agreed to give a certain something to the inspector. Oh. It could be that that Gregson was very interested in something in regards to the disc and the box, because he was acting suspicious about that as well at some point. I'm sure I need to remind the inspector that, if found to be true, striking a deal of any kind with a witness would be considered a gross case of malfeasance. What in the world is that word? Malfeasance? Huh, that's a word I don't think I've heard before. Like conspiracy or something. Well,
Objection!
It's becoming clear that jumping in with accusations is this Nipponese student's specialty. I don't do that. But with the stakes so high, the prosecution is not prepared to listen to baseless charges. It is incumbent on the defense now to present evidence in support of this diabolical claim. Evidence? Just what are you proposing that the inspector demanded of the witness in return? The court must see proof of this alleged deal. If Inspector Gregson really did strike a deal with Mr. Graydon, then logically, there's only one thing he could have asked for. That must be it.
Well, do you think he could be...
Yeah. It's the missing link that would join all the dots together in this puzzle. I must press you for an answer now, Counsel. What evidence explains the nature of the alleged deal that Inspector Gregson made with the witness? Okay. Well, it could very well be the small music or... Well, it could either be this or this. Like, something tells me that he's definitely interested in this sort of stuff. Like, one person would need both of these, though. So, how can I present, like, one of them? Well, I do remember that Gregson was being very suspicious about the music box, so I could go based on that. Okay, well, here goes.
Take that!
Inspector Gregson. Besides this murder, is it not true that you've been working on another very important case?
What are you getting at now, Sunshine?
Is it possible that this other top-secret case is what's alluded to in this newspaper article here? Yeah, more than likely. The classified secrets being leaked overseas from the Ministry of Justice.
How the bleeding Nora could you?
We discovered during the course of this trial the music box deposited at Weedybags by Magnus McGilded. A special music box designed to play 2 discs at once. It would seem very likely now that it encoded on the pair of discs that were in McGilded's possession. Are the leaked classified secrets? Yep, seems like it. And you were working on this as well. So I put it to you, Inspector, that in order to recover the second of the discs containing those secrets, you covertly made a deal with Mr. Graydon, in which you exchanged the discs for details of the case.
You little god!
Ora! 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 On the day of the incident, when we met you at Winnipeg's, you said this. I'll be taking that whatever it is of McGillet's down to the yard. Thank you very much. So hand it over. No, don't. Don't give it to him. It's mine, that is. Mine. Sorry, miss. But anything belonging to McGillet has to be taken in as evidence now. Yeah, you even said it yourself. It belongs to McGillet. You had an interest in McGillet. Scotland Yard already knew at that time, isn't that right? That Magnus McGillet was involved in the stealing of the government secrets. My orders were recover the medium used to convey the secrets leaked from the ministry, and do it on the QT. Strictly hush-hush. And that explains why, when I presented this disc as evidence to the court, you objected so heavily, I presume. Because you knew that it contained highly confidential information. Yep. You reacted in a very strange way. Unless it had some highly confidential information in it, it kinda makes you question why you would react that way.
Blimey, not likely. I mean, I wasn't that sure of it myself. I realized there was a possibility. That's all.
Inspector, surely you're not saying that in order to acquire the second of these music box discs, you did indeed reveal confidential details of the crime scene to the witness. Ugh, that's quite bad. To aid and abet this man in giving false testimony? There's no other way that Mr. Graydon could have known of the existence of the people. It's the only explanation. A deal was struck between these two men. Ah, Gregson, how could you? No!
Objection!
If, and I stress if, this sobering assertion turns out to be founded in truth, it would mean that the second disc is, as I speak, here in this very courtroom. Well, hopefully, I do have to hope that we're gonna be able to find that disc, because that surely is gonna be conclusive evidence that this will be like government secrets. Otherwise, well, we still got nothing on that front. Wait, what? In this room? How could he possibly make a claim like that? Well, either he knows some stuff that we don't know, or he hopes that we would be able to offer an answer to that we will be able to back that up. Because Inspector Gregson is a Scotland Yard detective. What?
What's that supposed to mean, eh?
As a seasoned policeman, the inspector will have approached this alleged deal with caution. Certainly, he would not have accepted a gentleman's agreement in this matter. No, he would have insisted on having the article agreed upon in the palm of his hand. Good gracious! Then, you mean to say, Inspector Gregson already has the item in question in his possession? Huh. That would be interesting if he actually has it. He has the second disc actually on his person?
Yes!
The defense demands that the inspector is searched at once.
Definitely. They could only have struck a deal with each other when Jeannie was testifying before. Gregson hasn't moved from the witness stand since.
My lord, please. Order an examination of his personal effects immediately. Well, Inspector? He doesn't have it on him, does he?
This young lad wants to tone down his imagination. He's insulted me in my possession quite enough. However, if it will put this matter to bed and dispel any doubts about my involvement, then I'll happily submit to a body search.
What? He's going to agree to it? I presume you're aware of the precipice on which you now teeter, my learned student friend. Why do you have to always remind us of this? We know already, goddammit. You made a most serious allegation against Scotland Yard here. If, following the search of the inspector's personal effects, no disc is found, he will be deemed unfit for court service. This trial will end, and my country's government will formally demand of yours that you are severely reprimanded. Ugh. That is quite a punishment there. Might as well just have him punished by death as well, why don't you? I mean, okay, let's say that we're not gonna find the disc on Inspector Gregson's. Maybe we should check everybody in this courtroom. I mean, why not? Check the Skulking Brothers and the Graydon as well. That sounds serious. Super serious. My goodness. Indeed. To have a visiting student make such defamatory remarks about our country's most senior police force is not something Her Majesty's government will be able to overlook.
You're just threatening women because you're scared.
The accusation is beyond serious. You must be prepared for grave consequences. It's true. I cannot imagine Gregson would have accepted the gentleman's agreement for something so critical. And this must have physically changed hands, which means the inspector should have it. But somehow, something doesn't feel quite right here. Yeah, I mean, Gregson is being very calm about this. I mean, one could say that he is actually hiding, he's hiding the disc light super well on his body, but something tells me that it's not on him at this point. Like, what are we gonna do? Just strip him naked and check, like, the clothes and such? And check... Like, if we were to go to extremes, check every single hole imaginable. That would be quite something. But, you know what? I think that we should go a totally different direction here, Ranosuke. Let's think. Very well, Counsel. You know the implications. So let me ask you one final time. Yes, my lord. Do you still persist in formally requesting a search of the inspector's personal effects? Yes, search him, search someone else. Withdraw the request. Well, if we are to search someone, who can we even search? Like, my first instinct would have to be, like, Graydon, but... Could it be that easy, though? Like, maybe we are thrown for a loop and it's actually the Skulking Brothers who have it. Alright, well, let me just choose this first. Let's say first that we are gonna search someone. I'm gonna give us some time for me to think. Yes, the defense formally demands the search to be conducted. Wow! Don't say you weren't warned. But your typical Nipponese stubbornness may well land you in hot water this time. Perhaps the lesson will do you some good. Fair enough. I've got nothing to hide. Very well then. Bailiff, conduct a search of the inspector's personal... The defense demands a search, but not of Inspector Gregson. Uh-oh. His, like Ryonosuke's slaps on the desk are not as powerful. Yeah, I mean, this trial has been going on for quite a while. Come on, Ryonosuke. We still got a little bit left. We're so close to ending this. We're so close to getting our victory here. Come on. What? Now what's all this? I'm the one you're accusing, aren't I? I thought you wanted to search me. Okay. Clearly, with this kind of reaction, that means that it's not on him. And now he is afraid that we're gonna search someone else. No, Inspector. Not you. Somebody else.
What's the meaning of all this, eh? Lost it at last, have you, Sunshine? The court shouldn't have to put up with this nonsense. You're being completely irrational.
Be quiet, all of you. Riddle's doing what you all told him to do, and having courage of his convictions. So you respect that and listen to what he has to say in good faith. Because that's the British way.
The British way. Oh. Well said, young lady. Indeed. This court is in awe of the defense counsel's conviction, and eagerly awaits his next words.
You what? Oh, don't be hasty, my lord.
If I'm not mistaken about the things I've seen in court today, I'm fairly sure that I know who has that disc at the moment. There's only one person it can be. Counsel, with whom do you request this search now? Either Graydon or the Skulking Brothers. Graydon or the Skulking Brothers. Because here's the thing. They could have just stolen that second disc from that box that night, that's for sure. All three of them could have had it on them. Actually, it would be... Actually, you know what? It would be kind of stupid of them to actually have the disc in their possession like right now. Like, after stealing that disc, they totally would hide that somewhere. Unless, hold on a second. What if Gregson actually initially had that disc on him? But similarly to what we had before with Graydon and Gregson talking to each other, like in secret, maybe Gregson actually gave Graydon the disc back. So, well, not back, but rather they managed to, Gregson managed to slip it, like, on Graydon. Yeah, you know what? I'm actually gonna go with Graydon. It's actually in Graydon's possession, like, right now. Mr. Ashley Graydon, my lord, the defense demands that he be searched at once. Very well. I presume you will not protest, Mr. Graydon. Au contraire. Ah, shit. He is definitely not being worried about this, like, at all. No, hold on a second. I think now I know what happened here. I made a mistake over here, didn't I? Okay. Alright, let's go through this. So a brief body search was carried out by the court bailiff. A few short minutes later, it was revealed that Mr. Graydon had nothing unusual in his person at all. Alright. Well, counsel? Alright. This time, I have the actual answer. It was quite sneaky. It was definitely quite sneaky, but I think I got it, like, right now. If I'm not mistaken about the things I've seen in court today, Fairly sure that I know who has that disc at the moment. There's only one person. Okay, you know what? This was sneaky too. It's true, we did have that one moment with Graydon and Gregson talking to each other during Gina Lestrade's cross-examination. But we also had a suspicion, like a suspicious activity going on between Gregson and Nash skulking. Like, yeah, at first we seen how Gregson was very angry and he was just strangling Nash before out of anger. But it could very well be that Gregson actually hid that disc on Nash, like right now, to get rid of the evidence, to get rid of that disc, like really fast. So now it is in Nash's possession, like right now. Whether Nash actually knows this, or he agreed to that with Gregson as well. I think that this is our actual answer here. Off, my lord. Mr. Nash skulking. Oh, I never.
Eh? Blimey! Me? Him?
Very well then. Bailiff. Restrain the witness and conduct a full search of his personal effects.
Please, my lord.
Oh, okay. Now we're on the good track. Ah. You sneaky one, Gregson. Inspector?
Scotland Yard has to object to this search.
Objection!
Unfortunately for you, Inspector, your objections carry no weight here.
Eh?
In this court, only the prosecution and the defense have the authority to object.
But Lord Van Zeeks.
I have no idea what forces are in play that might influence your actions. But personally, I have no intention of obstructing the course of this trial.
Lord Baroque Van Zeeks.
Bailiff, carry out the search.
Now hold on, Mo. I do nothing. Nothing about no disc. Cut it out! Ah! Ah! Here, my lord. In the witness's pocket. I found this.
Lord, that's
the second disc. Okay. Now we can confirm once and for all that these are government secrets.
another music box disc.
I don't know nothing about it. Nothing.
That is the second music box disc left behind by Magnus McGilded. Is it not, Inspector Gregson? Hold on! Mr. Skulking, what have you to say for yourself?
Captain Bennett. I mean, just Gordon Flamey Bennett. I swear I didn't know nothing about that disc. Honest to God.
Also, will you please explain what exactly is going on here?
Oh, come on. Do we really have to explain this as well? It's obvious.
Well, actually, no, hold on. Like, we have to explain how it got in Nash's possession. That we have to explain. I thought that there's no need to explain that this is the second disc that we have to verify for the government secrets. The alleged deal that was struck was between this witness and this detective, no? Without question, my lord. Then, for peace sake, why on earth was this man in possession of the disc that the inspector traded for information? Inspector Gregson is a shrewd, calculating man who rarely loses composure. But at one particular point in his trial, he exhibited some unusual behavior for a brief moment. I don't recall. What unusual behavior? Oh, hold on a second. I think I'm seeing like a particular thing over here that I didn't... Well, not that I didn't take into account. But yeah, I didn't take into account. It's just that I didn't see this as well. It wasn't necessarily that... Well, actually, no, hold on a second. Okay, I did take this into account. My bad. Let's scratch that. Like, of course it was a play. Gregson did put the disc on him as well. So it wasn't necessarily that he was angry or anything like that. He did that on purpose. Sorry, my brain is a little bit mush right now. I'm mustering all my strength to go through this. Come on. He was, yes, during my cross-examination, Mr. Graydon. Tell me, Mr. Graydon, when you left the pawnbrokery that night, was it by any chance with the second disc in your jacket pocket? I admit to nothing of the sort. While Mr. Graydon answered my questions, the inspector appeared to have grabbed Nash skulking by his coat and was shaking him violently. Yeah, he did, you know. Me noggin was gonna fall clean off if I did. I was wishing I'd been born as me brother, I was. And then what exactly happened to make the detective attack you like that? I ain't got a clue. He just suddenly turned and grabbed me, which like started shaking me. Why the blazes didn't you mention the front gun when we got you down the station? That's what he said. He yelled it right down my ear, he did. And yet still throbbing now. The way the detective behaved then was extremely out of character. But looking back now, it must have been then that he did it. That was the opportunity Inspector Gregson created for himself, in order to hide that disc. Yeah, indeed. He did it purposefully, to make us think that, oh, it was out of anger or something like that, but no, in actuality he did that to hide his action of putting the disc on Nash. Oh, bless my wig! He hid it? Phew. I'm afraid I fail to comprehend the motive here. If the detective had acquired the disc he was after, why on earth would he then proceed to hide it in another man's pocket? 'Cause, well, he probably thought that he more than likely would have been accused of conspiracy as well at that point. This is a court of law. He could have submitted the item as evidence. It would appear, my lord, that the inspector was not at liberty to do that. Why ever not? As the man himself revealed earlier, his current assignment is some special conditions. My orders were to recover the medium used to convey the secrets leaked from the ministry, and do it on the QT. Strictly hush-hush. Hush-hush? Top secret assignment, is it? As far as we are aware, the information stolen comes from confidential government communications. It would seem that if that information were to be revealed in court as evidence, it would be problematic. Does that sum up the situation, Inspector? I am operating under direct orders from the Ministry. I'm afraid I'm not at liberty to answer that question. So, realizing that there was a chance that you may be searched here in court, you took steps to hide the disc you had acquired from the witness. Does this mean... He only pretended to attack Mr. Skulking in order to get close enough to him, to slip the second disc into his pocket. Yep. And he also did trick me because I was thinking that Gregson may have slipped it to somebody else. And I was thinking that it would be Graydon. But no. He actually hid it on the person that we would least expect it. Because the Skulking brothers, they're just a bunch of common thieves. They wouldn't be up with this government secret type thing. But no. That's what he tried to use as a weakness for us. So it was all a pretense. The fact that he chose Nash out of all people is actually a pretty good move. Oh no, Inspector Gregson. And you, Mr. Graydon. Are you prepared to admit to the accusation made against you of this alleged deal? Admit to it? Yours truly? Please. Mr. Graydon. Ugh. I swear to God, this guy has like, these people have like lots of shields. Okay. In which case we have another obstacle that we have to go through. Clearly our Eastern visitor has an uncommonly active imagination. However, there's no proof that I passed that disc to the inspector.
Objection!
But then, how do you explain the reason why you knew about the people? I'm under no obligation to explain. What? After all this? Yes, I lied in my testimony. That I admit, so sentence me accordingly. But that is all I admit. Murder, leaking government secrets, striking a deal with a detective. All of it is this young Eastern man's fancy. I have no idea what any of that is about. You... What? Well, what about you then, Inspector Gregson? Do you admit to making a deal with Mr. Graydon in order to acquire the disc? Ladies and gents of the jury, as a Scotland Yard inspector, I will declare this and nothing more. I am acting in the best interest of the country. Whatever I done, it's been in the name of justice. So, as members of the public of this fine country, I'd like to think that justice will be your guiding light when you're making your decisions. This is quite a quandary indeed. Rarely have I encountered such extraordinary tumultuousness in the concluding of a trial. Nevertheless, in the absence of any further evidence to be presented... What do you mean, in the absence of any further evidence? Like, we have the second disc. We can totally verify that both the discs, if completed, they offer like government secrets. And if decoded by juror number 5 or something like that. I believe it is time that we put the matter to the jury for their final leanings. Well, though, as a fellow servant of Queen and country, I must say I sympathize with the old inspector. Yes, he is a dependable man, I'm quite sure. In service, one becomes a good judge of character. Even crossing your eyes doesn't help when it comes to looking at this case. It's all a blur to me. Well, as a fellow professional, I like to put my faith in the detective, really. Graydon is a highly skilled operator. Stop. Currently in presence of idol. Stop. Detective has very much trust in us. More than this, I cannot say. I don't believe it. These 6 jurors are... They're going to believe Gregson. They declare the decision now.
Is Ginny going to be found guilty?
No, not yet. Not yet. We still have to fight. Still need to present more. If I don't manage to produce some definitive evidence right now, then we're going to lose. If there's some proof that Graydon killed Mr. Winnieback or stole those government secrets, or some evidence to force Gregson into admitting that he struck a deal with the witness. Well then, counsel. I think it's time I imposed on the jurors to declare their final decision, no? That is, unless you have some compelling evidence you have thus far not presented to the court. If I let the judge call on the jurors to announce their leanings, Ginny will be found guilty.
So there's no choice then, Una. You have to throw some more evidence at them.
No, it all comes down to this. Who do I present evidence against? Gregson or Creighton? Well, we're definitely not gonna leave it to the jury. I mean, why can't we just, again, listen to both discs at the same time? With the music box? Can't we? Why is it that none of these people are thinking about it? Am I the only one who is thinking about this? Unless they, like, it feels like such an easy decision. That's something that I would go with, but if they are being so serious about this, it kind of makes me think if there's something else then that should be doing. Like, what is this? Graydon, Inspector Gregson. Okay. Let me think about this. Either some proof that Graydon killed Mr. Winnieback, or stole those government secrets, or some evidence to force Gregson into admitting that he struck a deal with the witness. Either Graydon killed him, or stole those government secrets, or some evidence to force Gregson into admitting that he struck a deal with the witness. Well, I would definitely go with Graydon because we are talking about government secrets. Let me look at the at the court record and see if there's anything else that I didn't take into account. Iris' story manuscript? Hold on, can I examine this a little bit? Like, I don't know if this really has like any connection to this case. The Hound of the Baskervilles. Perhaps Mr. Sholmes is a family friend of someone who has that name or something?
Well, it doesn't have quite the same ring to it, but I could change it to the Hound and the Narvados.
Yeah, we are sure that Mr. Sholmes has a friend who has that kind of name. I'm 99% sure. Unless now, like, Ryonosuke's name is actually fake. But okay, Okay, well, you know what? I have 3 chances right over here. I'm gonna go with the idea that I had before. Maybe it's easier than what I'm trying to think over here. That maybe there's something else more complex than the idea that I had before. Let me see if I can present my easy idea over here. In which case, I'm gonna go with Graydon. Because we're definitely gonna present some evidence here as well. Mr. Graydon, there is one final piece of evidence I would like you to see. You misguided fool. Whatever you intend to show me now, you'll be wasting your time. I have nothing left to lose. I assure you, I will admit nothing. This is my last chance. I'm gonna have to force his hand here. One final piece of evidence to get him to admit to the deal he clearly struck on the stand. Like, if I'm right about this, this should be it. This should conclude that these are government secrets. If we are to present a small music box and have it listen to both the discs at the same time. Is that Mr. McGillis' peculiar music box console? Oh, thank God. Thank goodness. Yes, with the disc already in place ready to play. I think perhaps now would be a good time to listen to the sound produced by the music box again. Only this time, with the second disc we just discovered set in place as well. Goodness, this disc console? Indeed, that disc. Let's get to listening some more music, shall we? No, wait, I cannot let you do that. Why not?
Because well... Because it's got nothing to do with this case. That's why.
Objection!
Not true, Inspector.
Eh?
The defense has already proposed that the sounds heard by the court earlier from this music box were part of a Morse code message. We know that Morse code comprises of 2 distinct tones. The defense believes that the second disc contains the second tone needed to complete the message. And now we have a chance to confirm that theory. Let's get to it, Ronosuke.
For crying out loud, Sunshine. We're talking about state secrets here. If you go letting the whole courtroom hear confidential information like that, it's treason.
Yeah, well, I don't give a fuck about that. Then do you admit the charge? That in order to protect those state secrets, you engage in unlawful dealings with the witness?
You're mad. If you let that secret information out into the public domain, you'll be making an enemy of the entire British government, you idiot!
Yeah, well, I don't care about that.
Objection!
Let's not forget, Inspector, that you, a Scotland Yard officer, leaked confidential case details to a witness. Yeah, that is true. You even gave the disc to a random Joe Schmo like thief, like Nash. So what does that tell you about yourself? That you continue to lie to the court. And all because, by fair means or foul, you're determined to do your duty. Well, by fair means or foul, I am prepared to do mine.
Don't you dare.
I will stop at nothing to protect my client. I don't care who I make an enemy of. Ooh, Ronosuke. My lord, if you please. The court must hear the sounds made by that music box.
Come on, Van Zeeks. For Pete's sake, stop him.
Objection!
Oh! Spectre, you should know my methods by now. I am a prosecutor. I am no Scotland Yard puppet. Yeah, talk to the boot right here, Gregson. In this courtroom, my duty is to the law. So let me propose a toast. To uncovering the truth, by fair means or foul.
No!
Very well. The defense's stance here and that of the prosecution has been made very clear, I feel. Therefore, in accordance with the defense's request, the court will now listen as this music box is set in operation once more. This time, with its second disc in place, and both discs playing simultaneously. Yes, it does sound like Morse code. It's unmistakable now. It's Morse code.
Alright. I admit it. Whatever you want, but for the love of God, shut that brilliant box up!